All right, hello everyone. I think we have just connected ourselves to audio here. So welcome to our Trainee Roundtable, the first of two Trainee Roundtables this month for our Discovery Series in our Black Friday event. Really glad to have everyone here. And thanks for tuning in with us. So if you are here, just let us know in the chat. Let us know that you are present. And I ask this question every single time. It's actually a very funny question considering two of the people that we have on today. I'll explain that in a moment. But who has made every session now so far? So you made the first keynote with Kelsey. You made the grad roundtable yesterday. You made the session with Elizabeth today. And now you are on the trainee roundtable. Let us know if it's a 4 out of 4 for you in the chat. Similarly, if it is your first time tuning into any of the events for this Discovery Series, I'm actually even more interested to know that. Just drop a first or a 1 in the chat and let me know that you are tuning in for the first time. Also, I did not tell our trainees this, but it does take about 30 to 60 seconds to get the answers back. So I promise we do have people here for you, but there's a delay on here compared to Zoom. There we go. And McCarthy, welcome, welcome. Hud said, hi, friends. 4 out of 4 for Megan. Not bad, not bad. Let's see who can hang in with me till the end of the month. And McCarthy, 4 out of 4, not bad as well. 2 out of 4, okay, 50%, all good. Any first timers? That's definitely super important to me. Any first timers? While we wait for that, I will explain what the trainee roundtable is. It's similar to the grad roundtable, except we do it with trainees. We ask them a series of questions. This is not the craziest session ever. I know that the keynotes get so hyped up and we're giving away stuff and it's crazy. This stuff I consider very practical, and I'm so appreciative, and so is our marketing team and our staff here, that we have trainees and grads that are nice enough and dedicated enough to FDN. They don't get anything for this, guys. We literally post in the groups and ask these folks, hey, who would like to let others that are considering the FDN program know about their experience? I actually have, in a sense, even more or throw some more props to the trainees who do this, because you guys are actively in the course. You're probably very busy, could be studying this stuff right now, and they choose to be on here truly just to let other people know what their experience has been. And I think that's very cool. I also think it goes to show of the mindset here. We are a mission and a movement all together. There's no competition. There's no, oh, this FDN's having success, so that means I have a lack of success. The best thing that could ever happen to an FDN is we go out of business because we don't have enough clients. Unfortunately, as of November 11th, 2025, when we are doing this, because I know some people watch the replays, we are nowhere close to that, folks. You know, we got 50% of people in America alone have a chronic disease. That's 160, 170 million people, right? If not more. I don't even know what the stats off the top of my head are in Europe and Canada and Australia. I'm sure it's a little bit better than here, but there's definitely a lot of chronic disease stuff going on in these, you know, supposed Western societies that we have all this great stuff. But the reality is there's still a lot of things happening in all these places. And then you go to Africa, you go to Asia, a whole different set of chronic diseases sometimes and overrepresentations of some. So there are literally billions of human beings dealing with these things. We're not in competition. We have 5,000 FDN grads right now. We're going to need 50,000 to 500,000 more to really make this work and make a dent in the world. So that's kind of the vibe of what we're doing here. I see a bunch of 4s. I don't see any 1s, so that is good. I will not take the time necessarily to re-explain our entire Discovery Series. Just know that this first week is more of an intro, really great for people that are new to the world of FDN. Super excited for our second week. This is something for all the trainees, all the grads, and all the new people. We'll be doing a lot of case studies next week. So we learned from our October Holistic Health Week, which I know some of you were on and got to see. Apparently, everyone loves case studies and going over labs. Who the heck would have guessed? So we have some of our top FDNs coming on for that, including but not limited to Jennifer Woodward, Jen Sino, Ryan Monahan, Bria Gadd. Some amazing folks are going to be on, very experienced FDNs. Some of them have worked with thousands of clients at this point, so I can only imagine the case studies that they're going to be bringing to us. Without further ado, let's get to this. I want to just say hello to all of our trainees. They might give you a wave or something. And I want to be transparent because yesterday I purposely said I did not prep any of the grads on the questions, and that was accurate. This one, I have to admit, it's not that I prepped them on the questions, but we have a repeat guest for the Trainee Roundtable that has never happened, but her enthusiasm is just through the roof. You can't say no to her. I love her. So we have Em on with us. We also have Deborah T. And Deborah is someone who is on all of our live events. So for me to act like I did not prep her on questions would be inaccurate, because surely she has seen some of these sessions. I am not exactly sure yet if Nadira and Rupina have seen these sessions, but I did not prep those ladies. So we'll just have to assume that these are fine people that have integrity and are still going to answer honestly. And that's who we tend to attract here at FDN. So don't worry about that. And then ladies, if you do forget, if you've been on before like Em, or if you've never been on, this is how we will go with the order of the questions. For all the questions today, don't worry about the time frame in your head. Just know that most of the answers can be anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. We have the time for that. That's fine. So please feel like you can get your answer out. Don't feel like you have to rush. And then we're going to go in a 1, 2, 3, 4 order. So everyone should be showing up on the screen in the same way for you as it is for me. So you probably see me in the top left. We got M next, Deborah, Nadira, and Rupina. So that's going to be starting with M, 1, 2, 3, 4 respectively. So that means M, I will throw you the first question first. Once you're done, throw it to Deborah, and then so on and so forth. Rupina, I don't want to throw you off when this happens, though. I just try to be fair to everyone, so the same person's not getting asked the first question each time. So we kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. And I will just say Deborah and Nadira got lucky today, because you guys will never be asked a question first, so you're never really on the spot, which is nice. First question, super easy. And just a reminder, you guys are on mute, so just unmute yourself before you answer this, please. And we'll throw it to you. I'd love to know just full name, what you got going on, if people can follow you anywhere. And then most importantly, what were you doing before FDN that led you to wanting to do this program?
My full name is actually Emily Wenham, but I don't like to be called Emily. So
don't call her that.
Yeah. So, and I'm on Facebook as M Wenham. I'm not really going on Instagram quite yet. I think my name on that's Shadow Love and Light Work or something, but I'm obviously not on there. I have been a massage therapist for 24 years. So that's kind of my background, but more of a stay-at-home mom has been my priority. So before coming to FDN, I've mostly been a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling kids with a background. I've been in the holistic world just as a mom, right? So learning about how to heal my kids at home naturally for the last 20 plus years. So that's FDN was just what I saw as the next step for bridging truly holistic healing. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Em. All right, Deborah is next. And I should have gotten to my joke before. So the reason that I said 2 of these people definitely know the sessions is because Em basically held the record 2 summer open houses ago, definitely attended the most sessions. Deborah not only attended the most sessions of summer open house, I'm not sure if the woman's missed a dang podcast since you got involved in FDN. So you're one of my favorite people to have in the audience. We appreciate you. And I'm very appreciative that you came on this Trainee Roundtable. So please tell us, what's your name and where, I'm sorry, I guess where can people find you? You guys might not even have that yet. If you don't want to share that, you don't have to. Throw it out if you'd like to. But more importantly, what were you doing before FDN that made you want to do this?
Well, actually, I appreciate all of that. I'm honored by the intro. But I was also mostly a stay-at-home mom, but I was doing a million programs and wore so many different hats. I was doing a lot of holistic health in different sections. And to be completely honest, I was in a different program before I found FDN, and found you at Summer Open House and loved it and had to join because you all are awesome. But let's see, what was the other question? Where am I? I literally just made my first post today on Instagram, like literally, that says almost nothing, but hoping to graduate in the new year-ish. And I'm at thepracticalholistic.com is my full name on Instagram, but that is me. And thanks for having me.
Awesome. And I'm starting to realize that the socials and stuff might be more relevant for the grads. So our 2 other ladies, please just feel free to throw out your socials if you have them and you want people to follow. No worries if not. So Nadira, you are next. I'd love for you to introduce yourself and let people know what were you doing before FDN that made you want to pursue this?
Sure. So my name is Nadira Isaacs, and my background is in television production, voiceover work, and human resources. So my most recent job was actually in HR, and I quit that job in 2020 because I was completely burnt out. And the only thing I really liked about HR was dealing with the problems and talking to the employees one-on-one and trying to help them kind of navigate the workplace or their careers. And so I think that that is going to help me be a really good FDN one day, at least I hope it will be. I am currently in getting ready for practical number 2, which is Brad number 1. And was there something else that I missed? Did I miss anything else that you wanted me to respond to?
No, I guess it's easier question at first, but if you did want to shout out where people can follow you, feel free. That's up to you.
Yeah, I don't have any of my business stuff active yet, but if you just search my name on Facebook or on Instagram and you want to connect with me that way or follow me that way, that'd be great. But I'll admit that it's extremely boring right now. I have nothing really posted. My plan was to post that the little FDN blurb after this call today, so that'll be my first thing on my personal Facebook page. But that's about it.
Nice. Well, I love that we have some first-time posters today. This is great. You totally piqued my interest with the voiceover work. That's awesome. It's always cool meeting a fellow speaker. I never did actual voiceover work, but I did go to a one-day training where they have you go into the booth and stuff like that. So that's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Rupina, last but not least, my friend, just introduce yourself, please, and then also let us know what were you doing before FDN that made you want to get into this.
Absolutely. Hey, everyone, I'm Rupina Mir. So when I signed up for FDN, I was about 80% through a 7-year breast cancer healing journey. And prior to that, I had tried everything. I'd already been an integrated nutrition coach. Prior to that, I was an MBA in the corporate world, had multiple dark nights of the soul with my own health, which really propelled me down this path of holistic health and healing. And I felt I was already didactic about nutrition and epigenetics and meditation, Joe Dispenza style and all of that. But I still knew that normal labs don't tell the whole story, and I wanted to dig deeper. So I signed up right before my surgery, something I'd resisted because I wanted to read between the lines of the body. I wanted to know the patterns of the hormones and the narratives that's etched in our nervous systems. And I think FDN provided that bridge between data and intuition, between soul and science that I was seeking.
That's awesome. I'm so, I can't not follow up. I'm like trying to resist being a podcast host right now and just do this, but how are you doing with your health journey? Because
I am cancer free. So it feels amazing to have transmuted that. And I know, and that's why I'm here, because I didn't just go through this for myself, but I wanted to share this story for the collective healing of all.
Let's go, baby. Nice. And that is a special place in my heart because obviously I interview a ton of people with chronic health issues. I've dealt with them myself. The cancer thing, as I think everyone here would agree with this, it's a different beast, man. The second that you get that diagnosis, and I only know this through family members, fear instantly, comes into the radar, urgency of procedures and things that need to happen. It's very easy actually to see how people could get totally lost in the Western system. So I'm so glad you're here, and I'm glad that you're going to be a voice for people with that, because we don't have a ton in the FDN world. We have some amazing ones like Heather Cohen, but I mean, you look at something like cancer and how prevalent it is. I can't wait to have more FDNs out there doing that. And I'm just so glad to have all of you in my corner because, and guys, I don't want to speak ignorantly. Maybe this is the most arrogant thing to say. I truly feel if I received a diagnosis like that at this point in my life, I have some of the best people in the world in our graduate group, and I would have at least the best shot. So super glad to have you. I'm going, yeah. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you had a follow-up.
Thank you. No, I'm just grateful to be here.
Cool. All right. So remember, we're going to throw it right back to you, Rupina. We're going to go in reverse order now. This is another nice and easy question. Don't worry. But this is one of the main questions that we do get from people that are considering the course. And by the way, if you are on today and you're considering the course, feel free to throw your questions in the chat. We actually have Jenna with us. So she is an FDN graduate. She also works here on our staff. So does her mom. It's really cool. Kind of like a nice family duo helping us out. And Jenna can answer your questions if you see her. And then if we are able to get them to our trainees today, I'll happily ask them for you. So feel free to throw anything about the course in the chat while we're doing this today. But the second question is a very practical one. It's going to be about when are you on track to graduate? These can be rough numbers, that's fine. When are you on track to graduate? So how long would it have taken total? And roughly how much time have you been putting in? So just an example here, maybe you've been in the course for 4 months, you're expecting to graduate in 3 or 4, would have been 8 months total, and then letting us know how much time's actually being put in roughly each week, just so these folks can get an idea of what it takes to become an FDN. So Rapina, we'll start with you. You roughly, when are you on track to graduate, and how long is it taking you each week?
So I signed up right before my mastectomy, and I really didn't start till May. I signed up in April, but because I was still healing through surgery, I started going at it in May. I'm done through all my practicals. I passed all 6. I'm 95% through my written exam. And so I think I'm hoping to graduate by the end of December.
And sorry, how much time were you putting in per week?
I would say about at least 2 to 3 hours a day, just because I'm a bit of an overachiever and I really wanted to get going with this. So, but of course, that's not necessary. Many people take a more leisurely, the winding road down to graduation. But I had more of an urgency to get this done.
No, I actually love this because I know at least one of the other people's answers, and I want them to see that this is a self-paced course and this really can fit into your lifestyle no matter what's going on. So I'm excited to hear from other folks here as well. So Nadira, how about you? I know that you are on the practicals, which is great. So how long roughly will it have taken you to graduate based on your expectation right now? And then roughly how much time are you putting in per week?
Sure. So I started in mid-June, and I don't have kids. I also am not working currently, so I had a lot of time to spend just completely focused on this program. So between June and the end of August, I just ate and lived and breathed FDN. I was doing, I was listening to all of the audio files, but I also was going through with the slides. And then Evan, I would also just listen to the podcast also as well, even though that's not part of the program. It was kind of, I felt like I was in some weird, relationship between like you, me, Reed, and Elizabeth, because I drift off to sleep hearing one of your voices in my ear every night. It was just kind of crazy. But anyway, so that went on for a couple months. And then by the end of August, I was done with all of the modules. But when it got to doing the practicals, I started getting a little nervous, and it took me a minute to do the first one. And then when I prepared for the second practical, I did have to reschedule it and pay the little fee to reschedule it. It was completely my fault, but there's so much information that I knew I was going to be talking for over 2 hours, which is longer than the practical. So I had to kind of pare things back. But I think that depending on mentor availability, I can see myself graduating maybe by the end of January, I hope. I think that just with the availability, because I know it's kind of tough right now, I think maybe by the end of January, maybe February, I should be able to get everything done.
Nice.
And so I'd say now with the practicals, I do spend a lot less time studying daily. I try to maybe, just study for maybe a couple hours a day, but it's not as intense as it was over the summer when I was going through the modules, for sure.
Very cool. Thanks for bringing that up about the mentors as well. We never want to delay anyone. I guess in a sense, it's a good problem to have. We're currently hiring 2 course mentors. So just a little fun side note for those that are watching in the audience, there's ever growing opportunities to be a part of the organization too. So that's, obviously going out and being an FDN is great, but if you'd like to work for the organization, there are increasing opportunities. All of our mentors had to be FDNs first. So that's just a requirement, right? And we're adding some international folks as well. I don't think I saw any locations today yet that were outside of the US and Canada, but we do have one in Australia, and we're trying to add one just outside of North and South America so that we expand the time zone. So I'm glad that kind of came up organically. Thanks, Nadira.
Nice.
Deborah,
Sure.
You will be next, my friend. I know your answer has to be that you're studying a lot because you're always on the podcasts. So how on track are you to graduate, or excuse me, what timeline are you on track to graduate within, and how much time roughly do you spend studying each week?
Far too much for studying. I tend to jump in with both feet for everything. Weird. I'm sure that's such a surprise. But I signed up summer open house, And I actually looked back because I was curious about it. I started the welcome module on July 7th. So it's been about 4 months. And I am doing practical 5 out of 6 right now. And I am thinking of, originally I was thinking about graduating before the end of the year. We'll see what happens, because also being mindful of holidays and other people's schedules. Other people have other things that they do besides being a crazy person on top of everything FDN. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. We'll see.
Thanks, Deborah. And then I'd love to know, when are you on track to graduate, and how much time have you been putting in per week to the FDN course? Like, genuinely.
I'm so glad to represent the other end of the spectrum for reality. So I did take the very winding path. I signed up with Open House 24. And when I signed up, I was in 2 other coaching programs and about to start another coaching program. So when I signed up, I knew I was not going to be able to focus on FDN right away, because I immediately started a coaching program that was way more intense than I thought. And so it's hard for me to answer this question because I've done it in piecemeal. So I did I was so excited to jump into FDN that I was still doing modules, even though I was working on another coaching program. But that one actually had very strict dates. Like, I had deadlines and dates, so it got ready. And so it's just been really piecemeal. I've done like modules here. Like, I binge watched module 6, which is the one that everyone's like so scared of. I did it in like a day or 2, right? So like it's been very different. Like, some modules have been really binge watched. I have the opposite experience of, I actually have been putting in way more work now that I'm in practicals. And to answer your question, I am hoping to graduate by my extension deadline, which is December 20th. So it will be a full 18 months. And I'm really glad I took the long path, because it's been so worth it for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Em. And again, yeah, guys, I mean, jokes and pokes aside, this is the reality. Like, this is what happens at FDN. Again, we had, if you guys were on the grad roundtable, excuse me, you know how diverse those answers were. That's the point of the self-paced course. It allows you to fit it into other things. Em just mentioned an extension. So guys, when anything comes up organically, I try to put a little emphasis on it really quick. An extension here, I mean, you're talking, I think it's like around $100 something to $300 for 6 weeks to 3 months, respectively. We're not trying to get money out of you guys with the extension. I think Em herself would attest to that. In fact, a lot of the times when you buy during a major sale, which the Black Friday one is the biggest one we have ever done, certainly it would be the biggest one we'll ever do within the next year, that's for sure. Even if you had something else going on right now, you have to start doing the math in your head, because to get a 6-week extension or a 3-month extension for a few $100s, generally speaking, it is very worth it to get the $2,000 discount. So if you do need help with that stuff, Jenna will drop a link when she gets a moment in the chat where you can book a call. I said this earlier today. You already know what the offer is. It's not like you're going to get on a call with our team and they're going to try to hard sell you. We do not do that stuff. It's very cheesy. Almost all of our course enrollment people and salespeople are FDNs anyway, so they've been on the other side of that. So if you have a unique situation where you're like, well, dang, I don't even think I can start this for 4 months. Is it financially smarter for me to buy now during Black Friday, even if I might need an extension? You can get that situation figured out on those calls there. I do want to go to the audience just for a moment here. We have some great stuff. Dawn had said, I'm making a decision to join FDN to be able to go deeper into helping people with my business. Well, soon to be welcome. We're glad to have you. Has anyone here worked with mental disabilities? Do me a favor, and I'm not being funny. I work in the mental health space. I actually, I'm a motivational speaker in schools. Everyone uses these terms a little bit differently now. When you say mental disability, I do not understand if you mean something like I would not consider anxiety a mental disability, but some people might mean it that way. So can you let us know the specifics of what type of disability you're talking about so we can better answer that, Dawn? And the next one here, we'll get to 2 more, but Jennifer, thanks for this comment here. Jennifer Snell said, love this program. I started in May and should graduate in December. And Jennifer, I just think that's awesome. Thank you for taking the time to be here to support your fellow trainees. This is one really cool part about our community, guys. Like, she doesn't have to be on here. It's not like she's necessarily getting anything new. And we all just support each other. So really love that. This is the last one I'll get to for now. I promise we'll get some more if we can. So Anne, it looks like seriously considering starting FDN. I will have 2 jobs in January, working as a nurse and midwife. So of course, just easy jobs at that, right? Sarcasm. And also teaching at the local. I thought those were the 2 jobs. So you mean almost 3 things here. And also teaching at the local college. Do you think this program is doable with a busy schedule? So you are kind of the perfect person that I would say would really benefit from the call. Just to give you a direct answer right now from the information that you gave me, I think if you have that ability and the willingness, that's a lot of stuff you have going on. If you have the ability and willingness to say, you know what, at the very least, 5 or 6 days a week, I'm going to sit down for myself, and these are my 30 minutes that, I get to study. I don't have kids throwing footballs at the back of my head. I don't have emails going off or whatever. These are my 30 minutes. If you can do that 5, 6 days a week, yes, I do believe that it's worth it for you. You're going to take longer to graduate, but you can get there in a reasonable time frame. If you are so filled right now with your schedule that you're like, Ev, I don't even know if 30 minutes is in my future, free 30 minutes, that is in my future anytime soon. I don't think that's practical to sign up for the FDN course. And I think you're setting yourself up for a lot of stress. So I would not do that in that case. But please get on with one of our people and talk to them, because they can kind of help sort you through that situation. The other recommendation I might give before we keep moving on here is Nadira actually mentioned this, the audios, right? I think Reed is way too nice for doing this. Reed's the founder of FDN, for those that don't know, but that's how he is. He's a trusting guy. So he actually does allow you to, still to this day, download the audios and the videos from the course, and you can listen to that stuff. So my recommendation would be, if you got to work as a nurse and a midwife and teach at a local college, something tells me that you're probably commuting a lot. So what you can do is download the audios for the things, even before you actually sit down and watch it. Listen to those audios in the car. Yeah, and are you going to retain all of it? No, you'd have to be like Einstein to do that, right? But you're getting a feel for it. And so now when you do watch the video, your studying might be much more efficient because you already got to hear it one time before, instead of maybe having to watch the videos 2 or 3 times to fully grasp all the stuff. So that would be my recommendation. We'll happily get to some more questions later. Let's get to our next one here. So this is where we kind of get into the real stuff. I want to share things and ask questions that I just don't think other courses are going to do, so people know that we're being transparent. I'd like to know if this course has been tougher than you guys expected it to be when you first joined. And of course, that can be looked at as a pro and a con. There's a benefit to having a rigorous program. But I would like to know, in transparency, is this about what you expected, less than you expected, or more than you expected in terms of the difficulty? And if you want to get into the specifics of why your answer is the way it is, feel free. So M, we'll now go back to you. Has this course, did she just bail on me? She's like, nope. You're asking someone else next. She pieced out. I'm kidding. I see her in the back room. We're getting you back. You're not getting out that easily, my friend. And she's now down in the bottom right corner. Nope, you're right back up there. So M, let the people know, has this course been, less difficult than you expected, about what you expected, or more? And then why?
Well, I was on the open house on every call. So, I heard that it was a hard course. So I was expecting that. And I forgot to mention that among being a massage therapist, I have multiple certifications. I am so over-certified in things. And so what I will say is it has probably by far been the hardest course I've ever done. And with that comes the most amazing sense of accomplishment, as I'm like right there towards the end, that when I walk away from this, like, I know that we are legit. Like, this is a legit training, and it is well earned and well deserved. And it's going to feel very different to hold that certificate than I think I've ever felt for any of my other trainings.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Well, and again, that's a pro and a con, right? I mean, it's not really a con per se. It's just a reason that someone might consider this a little bit more. We don't want you guys to jump in thinking it's not going to be work. All these ladies are working hard. So are the rest of our trainees. You got to earn. Reed always says this is not a place you can buy the certificate. You can buy the training, but you earn the certificate. And I think that's why we get respected in the industry, and why you can actually go out and do this as work. So that's the obvious upside of that. But you guys do need to be ready for that if you're going to join this. So Deborah, what about you? Because you attended a lot of things as well. And again, I know I always say that in a joking way, but I do mean it. For someone that attended so many things, was your perception before, how did it match up to your experience so far in the course?
Well, I know that when I first did the open house and was first introduced to FDN, I remember actually listening to a case study where they were talking about what was going on. And I commented in the little chat box, I said, do people actually understand this? Because it sounds like that Charlie Brown teacher, like just, wah, wah, wah. I did not understand anything that was happening. And I was like, this is overwhelming. I don't know if this is going to be the place for me. So, but then people actually, a lot of other students were saying like, yeah, you'll get it. You get in the course and you actually understand. And I didn't open my course for the longest time because I am very type A. And I was like, I need everything to be perfect. And what if I mess up like the first quiz or something? And I went on and it was not a problem. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can actually I can actually do this. The one thing that was hard, and I expected to be hard because I almost didn't sign up, but I also did sign up because of practicals. This was a huge, huge thing for me because I am incredibly anxious all the time. So even going into the practicals, I waited for a second because I was like, I don't know that I can do this piece of this. Maybe I'm not ready. But once you jump in and the mentors are all awesome and you have like incredible support from your peers and everybody, and that is amazing. It wasn't so bad. And in my last practical, I was like, I actually know this. Like, how cool is that? So it was a huge ego boost for me, if I'm completely honest, that I no longer hear that Charlie Brown teacher voice, and I actually understand the vocabulary and what things mean, and that is a huge deal. So love that.
Did you said you did put that in the chat, right? Because I feel like I remember that, the Charlie Brown comment.
Yeah, that
Okay,
was
that's
me. That was my comment. I was like, I don't understand this at all. People actually know what they're talking about here, and it's not just like gobbledygook in the background.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
that was me.
before we move on here, it's like one thing for everyone to understand is there's a difference between what you need to know as a practitioner, to Deborah's point, versus what your clients will actually need to know. Most clients, I'll never forget, I was a family friend, the mom of the family said this to me because I was working with her. I was trying to show off almost. I really wanted her to know why she spent all this money with me. I'm helping her out, going over the labs. And she stopped me and she said, Ev, some people just want simple and they want to be told what's wrong with them and what to do. Like, can you just give me that? I'm like, oh. So as a practitioner, we're going to want that advanced knowledge. But the reality is with our clients, many of them just want to know what's wrong with them. So just something to keep in mind for everyone. Nadira, what about you? So the perception of the course that you had beforehand, has it been, not as hard, about as hard as you expected, or maybe a little tougher? And then why, for whatever your answer is?
Sure. I figured it was going to be really hard. I listened to everything during, you did some big event in March. I can't remember what it was called, but I was hooked after that. Say again?
Holistic Health Week, I think.
Yes. Yeah. And I just loved it. I ate it up. The course was definitely harder than I thought it would be. I do have a master's degree in HR management. So I understand what it's like to go through a master's program, but what I can say is that it's a lot less intense as far as learning because there's so many different ways that you can learn and because of the way the community is. So you've got the slides and you've got the podcast you can listen to, their audio files, the quizzes, you can retake them if you don't score well on the quizzes. There's the support of your peers, your hot topics, your study hours, supplement squad. So there's so many different things that come together that you can just get the learning and bits and pieces here and there, or you can just, kind of hunker down and listen to everything. So it ends up, because I think the information is so fascinating, it doesn't feel like it's hard in a bad way. And it's an intense course, but it's not intense where it adds stress to you. I think I'm getting stressed with the practicals, because you get nervous about that. But I think it was harder to go through a master's program. And I also like that this is self-paced. So you just can kind of, it helps you with your stress when you can just manage your schedule that way. You don't have to make this date to like hit this exam or do this by a certain time. But yeah, I think that it it was harder than I thought, but it was not a bad stressor, if that makes any sense.
It was a use stress. Well, that's a
Use
terrible
stress. It was a
joke.
use stress. Exactly.
That's a Reed joke right there. Reed is tickled somewhere
Right.
out there in Florida or San Diego right now.
Well,
So,
fantastic.
yes. This was actually great. I love these different perception or perspectives, like with doing multiple courses, but then also with them, but then someone who has a master's, right? Like that's kind of interesting to hear how you guys perceive this. So thank you for that. And then Rupina, what about you, my friend? So what was your, how has the course been based on your perception before? Not as hard, about as hard as you thought, or a little bit tougher? And then why is that?
I definitely think the course was tougher than I expected it to be. I mean, I have plenty of degrees. I have a CPA and MBA, integrated nutrition. So I thought I would breeze through it, but I was really blown away by the extent of clinician training that we get as practitioners and the hard science, the evidence-based. So yeah, it required, meticulous note taking and revisiting. And then the practicals brought it all together in this beautiful way for me. Connecting all the dots and the pattern recognition, which was really beautiful. And I think FDN is really the community is the medicine, right? Because it's like this, it's a nervous system of healers supporting each other. And that's what I love so much about the community, the bridge calls, the hot topics. There's just so many different avenues to partake and go deeper down certain rabbit holes that pique our curiosity.
You are 100% right that it has like a little bit of a mind of its own too. And I'm totally joking because I do love the trainee group. But the one thing that I have noticed, and I heard it expressed by most of you guys today with the practicals, when I went through this 9 years ago, there was no trainee group. There was no graduate group, right? So there was almost a blessing to the naivety that you had when you went into practical because there was no one to talk to. So I never thought about being nervous for the practicals because, this is what you do. And now you got someone in the trainee group being like, I'm having a panic attack the night before, and everyone like jumps in. So it is funny, definitely has a mind of its own. We'll go in reverse order again. So now we'll start with Rupina for this one. And this is a fun question. I always love being able to ask this one. So we all just seem to have universally agreed, and I would totally have been a yes for that category as well, that this course was tougher than we expected. Now, there's also some good news if that scares anyone. This is a program, and everything we do at FDN, our goal is to over-deliver from even what you thought it was going to be. We always want to make sure it was more than you thought it was going to be, not just in terms of rigor, but also some of the benefits. So my next question for you all is, what has been, one or two pleasant surprises from going through the course, or like things that you weren't expecting to get? So what I mean by that is when we buy a course, we have a perception, just like how tough we think it's going to be. We also have a perception of the benefits that we think we're going to get. Otherwise, we wouldn't invest in it if we didn't think we're going to get benefits. So what we would hope as a program is that when you guys are going through this, that you're getting way more than you expected. So I would love to know, Rupina, what's been, one or two things that have been pleasant surprises for you where you're like, I didn't even know I was going to get that. And I'm really glad that I did.
Well, I am consistently blown away by the caliber of the hot topics and how Elizabeth just really sort of takes us through the nuances of the journey for each topic. I mean, it really just solidifies our understanding and just gives us that next level of understanding for each topic. So that has been absolutely invaluable. And then again, I'll reiterate that the community is the medicine, right? I mean, because it's this collective healing. And there's just so many opportunities to participate and go at it at your own pace. So I'm not sure if there was surprises, but I didn't really partake in the hot topics as much initially. And then I'm like kicking myself because we get kicked out. And I'm like, dang, I should have been there live every single time because this is pure gold.
Sorry to keep, I don't mean to detract from it. I want people to always be clear. So what Rupina just said, you might have heard that it was live, guys. That is not a required part of the curriculum. It is a benefit that you can attend live, so you can watch the recordings as well. And you don't have to watch the recordings to be an FDN. That's not the curriculum, but a lot of people, as Rupina just stated, really love that. You get two completely different teaching styles. Reed is great. Elizabeth's great. They're different from each other. So some people just love getting that mixed perspective. It's really awesome. So Nadira, let's go to you next. Has there been any kind of pleasant surprises for you going through the course where you got a thing or two that you weren't even expecting to get?
Yeah, definitely. So I think one of the first things for me is the camaraderie and how everyone just really wants to help you, whether it's mentors or just your peers. Everyone is so supportive. And, coming from an HR background, I'm used to having to sit in a room with somebody who's upset because they didn't get that last promotion, or, there's going to be X amount of jobs available and only so many people can have them, that type of thing. Where here, there is no thing. It's not like there's just one person that can be an FDN. Everyone can do an FDN, can be an FDN and do have their practice the way that they want to set their practice. And everyone just comes around them and is very supportive about that. So I think that that's great. The other thing I really like about the community is just the diversity of people. One of the things that I recently figured out about myself is I have some energy healing ability. And when I try to talk to somebody that's not an FDN about that, they're looking at me like, can you also fly? I mean, like, what else, and so it's kind of cool to be in a setting where if I say that to someone, they're not thinking that it's crazy. They're actually asking questions about it, or they're interested in it. And so I feel like I found, my tribe, and that has been a really pleasant surprise for me, because that's not something that's really easy for me to talk to outside of the FDN circle.
It's so true. A similar thing came up yesterday. It's like, for many of us, it's one of the more diverse, if not the most diverse communities that some of us are a part of. And yet there are these, it's so weird that you can be in a diverse community and yet have that core similarity, right? Like you can be understood at the same exact time. Very unique experience. I've never had anything like it. It's cool. Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Deborah, you are next. And again, I'll be particularly interested to hear from Deborah and Em on this one, because you guys did see so much of the course and the teachings before ever joining. So has there been something or some things that have been pleasantly surprising to you that you weren't expecting to get when you joined FDN?
Well, I guess I have to say the one thing in particular would be all the lives, all the podcasts, all the interviews, all the everything, because there is so much of that offered, and I will take advantage of every single one, as some people can attest to. So I will definitely take advantage of all of that. And I love the fact that there's so many people that, again, just echoing what everybody else already said, so many people from different backgrounds or different niches and specialties that maybe is not something that I know a lot about, but I can learn so much from people within the community. And on top of that, my number one thing is definitely the community altogether. Like, I met some of the most fabulous people and their families, and all of that. And it means everything to me that you can, being the anxious person I am, and I own that, it takes a lot to get out there and be like, hey, this is me as a person and what I'm trying to do. And to have so many people come and surround you and be like, that's awesome, and celebrate your wins and do all of that. That's amazing. So grateful.
Well, I didn't say it last time, but I especially appreciate you being on today. I know it's never comfortable being live, even if it was with other people. So thank you, seriously, for doing this. Em, I feel like I know your answer. I'm going to guess it has to do something with the community, but hopefully there's some other things too. So what's something for you that maybe has been a pleasant set of surprises when you came into FDN, things you weren't expecting to get that you've gotten?
I saw Elizabeth and her brilliance in the open house, because we did watch a live Hot Topics, and I saw just how brilliant she was there. But continuing to see what a gift she is, like, she just says the most amazing things at the most amazing times, like, it's so completely dialed in. So, and not just Elizabeth, but all of our mentors. Like, our mentors are so fabulous. Like the MT calls with Shannon, I found a lot of answers for myself within the MT diet. So I wasn't expecting that. But my answers, my friends, the community. And it took me a minute. it took me a minute to find it because I wasn't part of the Facebook group. And I reached out to my dear friend Jennifer, who maybe is on this call because she attends all the calls too. And she pulled me into a WhatsApp group. And so that was where I first started really feeling supported and held. And now it's just continued, and I get to be the one in the position to hold and support, right? And just really create community and friendship. And I was not expecting that. I'm kind of a lone wolf. I'm pretty hermity. And 2020, like I think we've all been a little bit in our shells. And so that was a breath of fresh air, is the community and feeling held in a community, and that it doesn't end, that it continues after. And I have friends on the other side. I'm like, once I get to the other side, that it doesn't end. And I agree with what's been said, that it doesn't have the sense of competition. It has a feeling of camaraderie and everybody really holding each other up. And that's a beautiful thing to witness in this world.
Absolutely.
Held. So
great answer. I will go to the audience really quick here. I'm sorry that I missed this earlier. Laura, you had asked, have you ever had herbalists go through the program? Well, we certainly have. In fact, it kind of goes both ways here, where we have an advanced herbalism course by one of our teachers, who is Dr. Lori Rose. She's a PhD, actually teaches at a college in Texas as well, but does a lot of our advanced courses. So not only have we had herbalists go through the course, we are huge promoters of herbalism and help teach some of our graduates and trainees that if they choose to pursue that path afterwards. Great question. I think a lot of these other ones were just comments, just making sure. Someone asked, how much do the extensions cost? I really do not mean this in a funny way, Em, but you would probably know the best offhand. Do you remember exactly what it was, if you don't mind sharing?
I can't even remember. I've done 2 3-month extensions, which is the longest, I believe. I think they're like $230, $250. They were so worth it. And what I've said earlier, I joined with a super amazing deal at the open house. It was worth it. Like I still saved money, even having to extend.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Here's another serious question and serious in the sense that I don't think many other places are going to ask this. I think it's important. We all just talked about the community aspect in some way or another. Everyone kind of indirectly mentioned that. And for me, one of the reasons that a community is great is because you help people that aren't going to like this figure that out beforehand. And you help the people that are exactly the type of individuals that are going to like that, like this, figure that out beforehand. So if we could go around, and Em, again, we'll start with you for this one. I'd like to know who you genuinely believe is not a great fit for this course. And this could be based off maybe just personal preferences that they have, or if they're looking for a certain thing. And just to give you a second, because it can be a slightly trickier question depending on who's being asked. I would say this, and if anyone wants to reiterate it, that's fine too. I'm not trying to steal it. I would say if you are looking, like some people want to be coaches. They want to learn the motivational interviewing. That's all they want to do, which is a beautiful and fine thing. The main FDN program does not teach that. We're teaching health consultations. You will certainly know what to do in each session with a client. I'm not saying that. But in terms of that motivational interviewing style or more soft coaching skills, that's not the main FDN course. I'll shamelessly plug our wonderful Dr. Lori Rose again. She does have an advanced course for us called Coaching and Emotional Wellness, where you can learn more about that if you'd like to get those skills. But just to be 100% clear, we're usually looped into the health coaching industry, which, yeah, we're closer to that than not. I would not consider us like standard health coaches, which for some people is great. And for others, maybe that's not their preference. So that's just one example of who I would say would probably not be a great fit for the course. Hopefully that gives you enough time to think, Em. So who would you say is not maybe a good fit for FDN, either based on what they are looking for or just kind of personality attributes, and nothing wrong with it, but just maybe the style that they learn and stuff?
I think if you're not willing to open your mind to new ideas, you're probably not a good fit for this course. I think sometimes we can get really like, this is the only diet for somebody, or like, this is the only way for somebody. And what this course really teaches is bioindividuality. And so I think it could take, if people are really stuck in a certain school of thought, you got to open your mind to different ways of doing things. I also think if you expect somebody to do your work for you, because you actually do have to do the work. And I won't even say procrastinators, because I am a procrastinator. Like, so I won't even say procrastinator shouldn't take it. I think you can get through this course as a procrastinator because I'm doing it. But I will say you do have to do the work. Nobody's doing it for you. You do have to figure out, and also you have to be willing to participate.
Sure. Thank you. All right, Deborah, what about you? Who do you think might not be a good fit for this course?
I guess I would say almost the same sort of thing as far as somebody that is willing to do the work and get out there, because it's not it's not going to do the work on its own without you. You do have to put that in, and as you said before, it is not a program that you can just buy that certificate for. Like you need to put in what you expect to get out of it. So if you're hoping to scope by and think that this is just some simple thing that you can put some fancy letters after your name, that is not that's not going to happen here. And the only other thing I guess would say, not necessarily procrastinators, but somebody that thinks that that can't make a schedule for themselves. I could imagine that might be difficult because there is no deadline for things. You have that 12 months or whatever that you get from your start date, but it helps a lot if you put that not pressure on yourself, but you have that ability to set something forward as far as what your goal is to get something done, like a timeline there. But sure. Otherwise, you do have community support. So even with that, I think that's a little fuzzy area, because you have some cheerleaders in the background that kind of help you in that sense. So
thanks, Deborah. Guys, Google Calendar. I'm beating a dead horse for those that listen to us regularly. Google Calendar is free, and you want to learn to operate off that. Especially, man, if you don't do that stuff now and you can learn to do that in the course, you are saving yourself so much heartache in the world of entrepreneurship if you choose to do that. Entrepreneurship, same thing. No one's coming to save you. No one figures it out for you. You got to be able to say, this is the task I'm doing at this time. Here it's scheduled in my thing, and I'm going to do it actually when it shows up on that calendar. Free app. I downloaded that in 2017 or 2018. One of the best things that I've ever done in terms of just self-development and business. Nadira, you are next, my friend. So what about you? Who do you think might not be a great fit for this course, either based on what they're looking for or just their style of learning or whatever it might be?
Sure. I think someone who wants to make quick money, they might get intrigued by hearing it from the six-figure FDNs, but I think that this is not the type of program you get into to make quick money. That's not the impression that I have of it. I think also you need to be a self-starter and someone who is flexible. I think if you're inflexible, and also I think if you're not, I think you need to have a creative, some level of creative thinking in the way that you approach issues. So somebody who is not flexible and not really that creative, I think might have some problems with going through this course.
Sure. I don't think, every time I've asked that, I don't think anyone's ever said the creative thing, but I 100% agree with you, right? Because this is not just purely linear. A lot of people always ask, they're like, well, do we get XYZ protocols for this? It's like, no, I can do you one better. We'll teach you how to make your own protocol. But that's going to require that creativity, right?
Creativity, right.
Yeah, great point. Rupina, you're next. So I'm sorry, because this one, there might be some reiteration here based on what you've already heard, which is fine. But who do you personally think would maybe not be a great fit for the FDN course?
Yeah, I mean, I think FDN is a construct, right? So it's not really teaching us a method. It's teaching us how to think about client cases and how to progress them forward. So if somebody's not wired in that way of thinking, if they're looking to plug into an algorithm or something like, okay, these are the complaints and how can I figure out the protocol based on that, that's not what FDN is. It just teaches us critical thinking as to these are the labs, these are the complaints, and then we have full creative license in how to curate that custom protocol to move the needle for that person's well-being. So if their nervous system isn't wired that way, that may not be a good fit. It's also, as everybody else says, self-paced and self-driven. So if you're not one of those, like I personally thrive on deadlines, and that's why I thought I would get through the course in 4 months, but then it took a little bit longer, right? Because I'm like, all right, you better get to it and just schedule those practicals back to back, which I did. So, but I had to do it, right? I had to put it on my calendar. Otherwise, I could have just sort of had a longer runway on it. So,
Uh, awesome, thank you. And yeah, again, I'm. It sounds like such a funny thing to be passionate about, but I am passionate about the calendar thing because if it's like I've listened to so much personal development in my life, and I love this analogy. It's like if you set out a boat at sea, but you don't know where it's going, well, where is that going to end up? Right. I mean, you might end up 1 in a million at a desirable location if you just let the boat sail by itself. But if you have some guidance for it and you have a map and you know where you're going, well, you're more likely to achieve your goals. Certainly more than 1 out of a million. And the calendar is the first piece of that. For those of us that are transitioning from maybe you want to get into this entrepreneurship thing, maybe you want to self-learn, but maybe your entire life has been very structured learning or like a 9 to 5. Nothing wrong with any of that, but it is a new skill to say, hey, I'm not relying on anyone else to tell me what to do today. I got to do this. And thank God this is a work that most of us are inherently passionate about. And I will say, I think passion can override a lot of procrastination. It doesn't make it perfect, but it can help a lot of that. When we're obsessed with something, we want to go do it. So here's my final question for these ladies, and I will still get to some of the questions in the chat. I'll hang out a little bit longer for you guys. I know that there are still some there, but here is like the ultimate question that I want you guys to be 100% honest. If you do not believe that the answer to what I'm about to say is yes, say it, and you're more than welcome to say why. I don't know any other course that's going to do this live. I certainly don't know any other course that's going to do this without prepping the people on it, because I did not prep you guys on this one in particular. And I say this every time we're doing some type of event. I do not care if someone doesn't want to buy FDN because you hate labs. Maybe you don't like me, you don't like Reed, you don't like Elizabeth. I mean, I can understand me and Reed. If you don't like Elizabeth, you might want to check yourself. Reed and I, that's an acquired taste. You don't like FDN, whatever it might be. That's okay. That's a preference. What's not okay is to not do this because you don't trust us or don't think that we're going to back up our promises and what we said. That's my goal with these events, is I want to get through the crap that comes with all these different people that you're getting hit with on your social media feeds and your YouTube that you don't know who to trust. At least you can trust FDN. Now, whether or not you want to do it is a different story. So this is my question for you guys. And again, I want you to be 100% honest only. Rupina, we'll start with you. The question is, you guys invested a pretty significant amount into this course. This is not a $1,000 course, even with a nice Black Friday sale and the biggest one we've ever done. In general, this is still not a cheap course. It is an investment. Now, when we set out for the pricing of this course, I hope people don't get mad at me. I've been involved in some of the price increases, right? Because I believe that, hey, we've added so much more value to the course, we got to go up. We want it, though, to be a thing that when you invest XYZ amount of money, you are walking through this saying this was worth notably more than I paid. So not 10,000 and hey, it was worth about 11, but notably more than I paid. For me, it's a no-brainer. Like if I'm answering this myself, right? The amount of impact this has allowed me to have just in terms of my influence in health, my own health journey, my mom, that's invaluable itself. If I'm breaking down numbers to it, I'm not trying to make not everyone likes talking about numbers, but I'm going to be transparent with you guys. I'm not even 30, or I'm sorry, I'm not even 31 years old, just turned 30. And, I am closer to 7 figures than not in terms of what this has allowed me to do. It is a no-brainer that this was worth it to me in every single way. That is me personally. So Rupina, you paid a certain amount for this course. Was this worth notably more than you paid for it?
Unequivocally, yes. I mean, absolutely. I actually am kicking myself. I had considered FDN back in 2013 and ended up doing Sarah Gottfried hormone protocol. And I'm like, gosh, I could have sidestepped the entire cancer journey if I had jumped on the FDN bandwagon in 2013. Probably would have run my 8-hydroxydeoxyguanosine and seen my off-the-chart oxidative stress and going into those apoptotic pathways and, saved myself all that suffering. But, it is what it is. I'm so glad to be here. But yeah, unequivocally, yes, it has over delivered on what I expected the course to do. And
Awesome.
I'm beyond grateful.
And I apologize. I hope it was clear. I was smiling only because I didn't even think about the context of the cancer. I was initially thinking about how much different the price was in 2013. So I was smiling because of that. But I did not even think about like the serious implication of
Right.
that. So yeah,
Right.
glad you found us. Nadira, what about you? Do you genuinely believe that this was worth notably more than you invested in the course?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm still in the course, so I haven't made a penny from being an FDN yet, but I know that this is more valuable than I mean, I can't believe the amount of money that I spent on getting a graduate degree. And quite frankly, if I would have known about this coming out of high school, I would have done this instead of going to college, to be perfectly frank. The school loan, I can't, they'll make me sick. That's a whole other, thing. But it is so worth it to do this program. And I know that the money will come back to me. I'm not even concerned about it. But yeah, I would 1000% say that if you can pull the money together to do this, and I know that I was able to pay for it all at one time because of my mom. That's the only reason. But I know that there are payment plans, and you can go ahead and graduate and start working as an FDN while you're still paying off the course, from what I understand. But this thing is great. This program is really great.
My
Totally
mom paid
worth
for
it.
my course too, so I totally agree when I say it's worth a lot more than I paid for it. It did really well for me. I'm just kidding. That's awesome though. I'm glad that you had that support. And
Yeah, me too.
I told you guys this is why you want to be on the trainee roundtable. It's a little bit different answering this last question when you haven't gotten any clients yet because you're still training, right? So awesome. I'm glad that you guys both had that. Deborah, what about you? Do you genuinely believe that this course was worth notably more than you invested in it?
Yeah, and I would say too the same sort of thing. And to be completely honest, money was not easy. It was definitely a thought when I was signing up. I hesitated a lot because I thought this is for me, and I am also a mom of 5, and we have a lot going on here. Yeah, so it was not something I just clicked like I will buy this and spend thousands of dollars and like let's see what happens. It was not a very easy decision in that department, but I am so glad I did. So it was 100% worth it. Again, with everything else that was added bonus, having all the lives, having all the support, having the podcasts and everything all together, the community, that's priceless, man. So yeah, 100%.
I'm a man of transparency, so I got to be honest with them. I have heard her answer before because she's the only person ever that's made it to 2 trainee roundtables, and we love to have her. So regardless, though, Em, I'd like the new people to hear your answer. Do you genuinely believe that this course, the investment in the course, was worth notably more than you paid?
I don't even remember what my last answer was. So full transparency, I signed up before the price increase because I've been here for so long. And even if I had paid full price of what the price is now, like absolutely, even if I did not make any money from this ever, this course, the value of this course for me has been priceless. It's priceless. Like how do you put a value? Like I've gained so much from this course in so many ways, like even beyond just the FDN material, but just absolutely, it's impacted my life.
Guys, we'll send you all the checks afterwards, okay? Just wait till we're off air. No, I'm kidding. So once you're in the training group, if you guys do sign up this month, you will see these lovely ladies. So we just like to ask that question. So again, at least you can know and make an informed decision if this is going to be worth it, because it is an investment, right? And we want to over deliver on that. I know I kept you guys a little bit longer, and I'm sorry if anyone has to drop, please feel free immediately. I do want to throw one thing to you, only because this was asked directly to you guys. So if you can stay for a moment, awesome. And if not, no offense taken. Holly did ask, though, did any of the speakers here today have health issues they were able to resolve through the process of completing the course? Holly, I think you've already heard my story with it. I don't meet any diagnostic criteria for any health condition anymore, which is crazy because I had 7 when I was 18, 7 different diagnosed health conditions. And guys, you can just do a quick answer if you'd like. I want to be respectful to your time. Again, I guess in order, then we would go to M. So how has your health improved by going through the course?
So I have a case, like I actually did some testing and then I had to wait a while to get my results, right? Because it took me so long to get through things when I had the death of a father. And when I got to my results and recommendations, she's going through the questions and she was asking me questions. I couldn't even remember why I had issues with them, because I had such huge benefit with just addressing the food sensitivities and my diet alone. Like I immediately lost 20 pounds once I cut the things that were really causing a problem for me. So I do still have some health issues I'm continuing to work on. And one of my things is healing a gut, and healing your gut takes time. So it's not something that is going to happen overnight. Like, I'm 47 years old. So it's taken me a minute to get my gut to the state. I'm under no illusion it's not going to take a little bit more time, but absolutely I have seen health issues improve, especially the food sensitivity alone answered so many things for me.
And we'll keep doing this one really quick. Holly, I will say this is a great question. I'll throw this on our second grad roundtable tomorrow, because I just realized as we're asking this, depending on where these ladies are at, just so you know, some of them might have relatively recently gotten their lab results back. So that's kind of one tricky part. But Deborah, to the best of your ability, like were you able to improve your health in any degree so far going through the course?
A little bit. I think I'm one of the people on the other end of the spectrum there, as far as I only got my lab results back not that long ago, and started any sort of protocol somewhat recently. So I can't officially say that anything has been 100% resolved or anything like that. However, some diet stuff was hugely eye-opening, and I really appreciate that. It's made a lot of a difference, even just in the short time that I've been following that. And I know even just going through the course, this doesn't mean anything was resolved, but I had a lot of my own little sidetrack moments where I started reading something and going over something in the modules, and I was like, wait, that makes sense. And doing my own research, and I was like, oh my God, I've had hospital visits and mystery things pop up, and I still hadn't had any doctors, medical doctors anyway, saying like, this is the answer, this is why this happened. And I found out on my own through learning through the course, like, this makes sense, that this would have been like this, and that domino affected into this. So not technically anything resolved, but I definitely got some good clarity on where some things might have stemmed from that I wouldn't have found out otherwise. So.
And thanks for the honesty, Deborah. I'm sorry, guys. When I threw this one out there, I didn't even think about the fact I'm like, they're still in training. We'll finish it up, though, of course. Nadira, what about you, my friend, with how has your health improved in the course, if it has at all yet?
Yeah, it definitely has improved within the course for sure. I had all the things. It was eczema, allergies, joint pain, night sweats, ADHD, IBS. I mean, it just depression, everything. And I can honestly tell you that I'm feeling so much better. I had a knee that needed to get replaced. It doesn't need to get replaced anymore. I will admit I also do energy healing on myself, so I think that that's a big piece of it too. But I know that the FDN has definitely improved my health. One big thing for me, which people are surprised when I say this, but anybody that knows me knows I have always had short hair. And it dawned on me right before I joined FDN that I had not had a haircut in 10 years. My hair stopped growing, and it just didn't grow. And now for the first time, my hair started growing again, which is, wild. I mean, it's short. My hair is short, but like I'm sitting here with my Pebble Flintstone ponytail. And I'm like, that's right. I'm gonna look cute today with my little Pebble Flintstone. I don't care if it's a short ponytail. It's my pony. And, I'm thrilled about it. So yeah, my health across the board has gotten so much better just from putting in the protocols from my dress from my mentor.
I am very much looking for. I'd love to have you all on the podcast, but I definitely am looking forward to. I did not know that you had so many health symptoms beforehand. So really looking forward to having you on the pod when you're done.
Yep.
And Rupina, I promise you guys, it's the last question I will ask you all directly. Rupina, how about your health? Has it improved at all at this point in the course?
So I haven't done my labs yet because I had a vital void and I wanted to wait 6 months post surgery to actually do that. So I still have to go through that process. But it has turned on so many lights. I've always had this ravenous hunger for not just the science, but the soul of healing. My sister is a medical doctor, right? So I've always had allergies and food sensitivities, and I've asked her questions like why this and why that. She never had answers, right? And when I went through the MBA assessment, I'm like, so many lights turned out for me. I'm like, okay, this is a histamine issue. This is the connection with histamine and methylation and sleep issues and gut motility. And it's like I finally have the answers. I'm still working through rebuilding my health because I had to take 4 rounds of antibiotics this year, which I would have eschewed previously, but it was just par for the course. And I had to stop resisting and do what was required of me to get to the next level in my healing. So I'm still rebuilding my health, but I'm just so grateful for all the tools and the knowledge that I have because now I know why it's happening versus like this is another mystery symptom that nobody can seem to address. And I'm finally on the road back to wholeness.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And Holly, if you are on tomorrow and you don't hear me ask, and she did say thank you all, just so you know, she's very nice. I love getting the new people on. Like, there's always someone that's super active and just super kind every time. And Holly, amongst others, is just that person. I can already tell for this series of events. So thank you, Holly. If I don't ask tomorrow, Holly, and you're on the grad roundtable, please remind me, and I'll make sure to ask them because, of course, that'd be extremely relevant to ask the grads when they've gone through the labs and stuff. All right. Again, I know it's a little awkward transition. If any of you need to hop, that's fine. I got about probably 4 or 5 more minutes here with some questions that I need to address just for the audience. Rachel, you would be another person, by the way, just like a Holly. We appreciate you being here for all these events. Is there a minimum age requirement? My niece is interested, but she's just out of high school. I have no idea if we actually do have a minimum. I went through it 21 years old, and I had the record for youngest for a little bit, and then some 18-year-old who does not even really do FDN. I don't even think she actually ended up creating a practice. She went through, just said, screw Detective Ev's record, and I'm not even going to do this. So she's out there somewhere. I want to find her one day. And I know that an 18-year-old has done it, is my point. I doubt that there would be a requirement that says a 16-year-old can't do it. If your niece, for whatever reason, is under the age of 18, double check with our team really quick, please. But I think that would actually be a privilege to have someone that young be able to go through the course. That sounds really cool. Okay. Ev, will you talk about the continued support after graduation here, or do you have a separate presentation scheduled for that? That was a huge part of making the invest. Oh, duh. This is someone who's already in the course. So yes, we have some session this month with Lucy Korup, our executive director of our graduate group. So yeah, I'll preface this now though, just to not leave you guys on a cliffhanger. You know, these ladies are in the trainee group, and I'm so excited for them because if you like the community in the trainee group, it's like I'm just being honest. That's like the baby version, right? The graduate group is like you are joining people. Some people in the graduate group have been doing this as a career for 12, 13 years, you know, and they're giving you the clinical wisdom. They're giving you the business wisdom. And at the time of recording this, we have 1,000 hours of archived content in the graduate group. So that is a paid for group, just so you guys know. It's optional. It's $33 a month. I say optional because you do not need that to be an FDN. But almost everyone makes the decision to do it because it's like, why would I not? You have access to our clinical advisors in there, so you can ask them questions in the group. You have the hive mind itself. So, you know, just because you ask the questions to the clinical advisors doesn't mean that you don't get all the troops rallying around your question. So it's kind of cool because someone will ask something and target our clinical advisors, and then there's like 15 other comments from FDNs who are happy to help. And you literally could spend multiple years, even if you were doing an hour a day, going through the advanced health, business, and coaching training that we have in that graduate group. It is awesome. So tons of support there, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Are any prerequisites of math or science required before taking the courses? No, there are no prerequisites. And I know that might be almost surprising given how credible these people that we're talking today are and how much education some of them have. And then the fact that, you know, they still considered it tough. But Reed always says this, you got to want to help other people and you got to be willing to walk the walk. If you can do that, we can help you. And I'm not trying to, you know, be hard on myself here. I'm very open about my story. It's no secret. And I always respect FDN so much for, even with my interesting story, allowing me to be such a public facing role or have such a public facing role here. So not only do you not need prerequisites, I might be the least qualified person, ironically, that's ever gone through FDN. I was kicked out of high school 17 days into my senior year. This is, I mentioned earlier, I speak in schools for mental health issues. That's kind of the reason why. I'm like that motivational speaker that comes in and says, don't do drugs, kids. Make sure you ask for help with depression and don't just sit there and, bask in the sorrow of what's going on. And I'm making light of it now. Obviously, it was very serious. So I was kicked out 17 days in my senior year. I basically failed my entire 11th grade year by just using drugs the whole time and not showing up to school. So in a very real sense, because I didn't do college either. I have a semester and a half of community college. Don't ask about the half a semester. I was doing better. I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I have a 10th grade education from a good public school. It was decent. So maybe a good education for that part. And a semester and a half of community college where I was fully checked out the entire time. And I was able to do this. Was it tough? Yes, this is the toughest education I've ever gone through. It's not even a close comparison. I'm not that educated though either, just being honest. But it is one of the toughest things, if not easily the toughest that I've ever done. You do not have to have prerequisites, but you better be ready to study. You better be ready to watch that stuff twice and maybe 3 times to get through it. Good question. And that is all of them. I see some LOLs. So thank you, Rachel, for appreciating my humor. You are qualified for the FDN course. That's another prereq. Everyone loves Elizabeth. You have to have the acquired taste of Reed and I. So Rachel, if you're good to go on me, then welcome to the course, my friend. Guys, we are going to conclude this here today. Tomorrow, don't have my phone near me. So I'm going to go off memory. Tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern, we have a presentation with Reed Davis, the founder. If you are considering this course, remember, you got through my acquired taste. You got to get through his next. And that's a very special flavor of acquired taste. So make sure you guys hop on for that one. I'm just kidding. Reed is awesome. He's old school, and he somehow mixes in this kind of like insane level of humor with very clinical stuff. So you will never be bored in this course. I will promise you that. That is my guarantee to you. And I hope that you guys check it out tomorrow at 10:30. He's going to share with you his vision, how he got into all of this to begin with. And I think it's very important that you get to meet him and hear from him before you make a decision on the course, ideally. So check that out. We do have replays available on our YouTube. This is all streaming there. And of course, we're on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. Some of you might be tuning in from there right now. If you just go to our YouTube, I think there might be a direct link for that. Jenna, Jenna is still on, you're great. If you're still on and have that, if we can drop it, that'd be awesome. I don't know if the link's been developed yet, but literally on our YouTube, FDN training on YouTube, just go to the live section and you can see the stuff that we've done over the last couple of days. So you can see the keynote for free. Don't need to pay for replays for any of our Black Friday events. We sometimes have paid replays. Don't have them for this. You can go see the keynote, go see the grad roundtable, see Elizabeth today. You could check out Reed's if you miss it tomorrow, although definitely get there live. Reed is, it's rare that you get a founder of a company coming on and answering questions, and he'd love to do that for you guys. In fact, there's probably nothing that would make him happier. So hop on tomorrow for that. And then we have a second grad roundtable at the same time as these last two. That'll be 5 o'clock Eastern with a new set of graduates. And then my last announcement for you guys is on Friday, we have the mentor roundtable. So a little bit different. We're actually showing you some of our course mentors so that you can talk to them. And next week, the real craziness, if you can believe that, the real craziness starts next week where we have case studies, business success sessions with some of our FDNs. It's going to be nuts. Final thing, I promise. Then we could all go grab some dinner or lunch, depending on the time zone we're in. December 1st, 1 o'clock Eastern. December 1st, Monday, December 1st, 1 o'clock Eastern. Please be there for our second and final keynote of the month. That'll be with Leah Brueggemann. I always say with these keynotes, even if you aren't hitting or trying to hit the goals that these ladies and guys have hit, it is still worth checking out because it is so inspiring. Leah is one of the most humble people outwardly that you would ever meet. She is a serious businesswoman that is not to be messed with, my friend. She's on track to hit 7 figures. If you're like me and you didn't graduate high school and aren't good at math, 7 figures means 2 commas. That means $1 million plus in revenue in a year. That's what she's on track to do right now. And the way I always think about it is like, well, gosh dang, if I could do 1/10 of what she's doing and it's online, I think that's pretty cool. So please block off your calendars. I want everyone to be there. People that are never going to go through FDN, people that are just starting, trainees, grads, December 1st, 1 o'clock Eastern. And that is the same day that the sale is good to, with $2,000 off the course. If we can get a final thank you for these ladies, that would be great. And we are all going to hop off now and enjoy some delicious organic paleo